Thank you so much, Hari Prabhu. Really appreciate it. So, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for taking time off and joining this incredible program. I mean, we are so unbelievably fortunate, really, to hear from such an amazing advanced devotee. Uh, Amarendra Prabhu obviously needs no introduction, but we'll have Kush Prabhu formally introduce him. But I just wanted to take a minute to thank everybody for joining and for attending this program on behalf of ISKCON Cincinnati and ISKCON Indianapolis and all the other congregations that have come together, and ISKCON Columbus. Several members have come over here, several members have joined from India, several members have joined from Louisville, and probably several other cities all over the world. I humbly welcome you. Thank you so much for giving this your kind attention. And I'm going to turn it over to Kush Prabhu to please formally introduce our esteemed speaker for today.
Thank you, Pradipta Prabhu. Hare Krishna, devotees. I would like to, as Pradipta Prabhu, like Pandit Srivas Prabhu has already said, so I would like to welcome all the devotees to this special class. So as Pandit Srivas Prabhu said, today we have the fortune of His Grace Amendra Prabhu to get his association, who is a dear devotee of Krishna. I will quickly introduce Amendra Prabhu. So Amendra Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Radha Govind Goswami Maharaj, who is a senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji has been preaching the message of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and other scriptures to spread Krishna consciousness far and wide as much as possible. And Prabhuji has traveled to many cities around the world, spreading Krishna consciousness, such as like in universities, temple congregation, and social platforms such as YouTube, WhatsApp, and Facebook. So he's very well known on social platform as well for his amazing, lectures and amazing class towards Krishna consciousness. And academically, Amendra Prabhu is masters in electrical engineering from the University of Massachusetts. Also, Prabhuji has done his MBA here in US. So saying that, I would like to welcome Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Amendra Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances and Dandavata Pranam Prabhu. We are very grateful for your time, taking time and giving us your association, Prabhu. So it's over to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. When Kush Prabhu calls with so much love, then Ram Katha must appear. Love and Kush both are there. Thank you for this kind opportunity, Kush Prabhu. My obeisances to all the wonderful senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis on the call. Thank you, Hari Prabhu, for that very sweet, melodious kirtan. Actually, it's very interesting that I heard that melody first from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj many years ago. And till date, it remains one of my favorite melodies. And I was very happy to hear that actually this is Rag Shiva Ranjani in classical music, in Hindustani classical music. And in Mayapur, one devotee was mentioning that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has a few favorite ragas, but Shiva Ranjani is his favorite. I don't know how far that is true with some reference, etc. But he in Mayapur said that. So thank you for taking us back into Mahaprabhu's favorite raga. And I saw that you were singing all by yourself on a harmonium, but your sincere singing seemed as if you were singing with a group of 100 devotees. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. It's always pleasure to see those in their early teens or late teens or early 20s prioritizing Krishna consciousness, because that is a concern that is expressed by all the parents around the world in the ISKCON community. So when I see young Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are with so much determination and sincerity singing and going deeper in Shastra, taking Diksha and serving the Vaishnavas, I feel like asking only one thing: please pray for me, because all of you are so sincere. May I get a drop of that sincerity. And I see so many senior Vaishnavas here on the call. If I start naming, I think this whole class will go in that. But my obeisances to each one of you. I see a lot of Columbus family here. Cincinnati family is also there. And so many other well-known devotees on the call. Thank you for kindly attending. You don't have to. There's nothing that you're going to gain out of this class, but you are kind enough to attend and give 1 hour of your human time. Before I begin, I want to prostrate myself a million times at the lotus feet of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who has given us a very wonderful, very wonderful way of absorbing ourselves during this pandemic. You see, if we didn't have Krishna consciousness, we would have gone mad during this lockdown with lack of options what to do during this lockdown. But Srila Prabhupada is so kind. He has given us a process which can be externally expressed, but even if that opportunity is not there, there's enough scope for internal explosion. So thank you, Prabhupada, for locking us down to the basics of Krishna consciousness. And when the world is not able to go outside, you have given us a path where we can go inside. So thank you. My obeisances to all the wonderful disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, our ISKCON Guru Vrinda, who have preserved the pristine teachings of Srila Prabhupada and over 50 years carried the legacy down to all of us who never saw Srila Prabhupada. I bow down to each one of them. I offer my obeisances to all the wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis on the call. Please bless me by your blessings, by your best wishes, by your sincere prayers. May the right words come today at the right time, in the right spirit of glorification of Sri Ramachandra. May this give pleasure and satisfaction to your ears, and may this cleanse my consciousness as a servant speaker. This is our only aim and objective, the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and attaining the treasure of bhakti through our endeavor. This is our only goal. And last but not the least, I offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of my beloved master, Pratasmaraniya Paramaradhyatam Guru Pada Padma, Paramhamsa Paribrajikacharya, Om Vishnupad, Shishimad, Srila Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj, from whose lotus lips I had the fortune of hearing this Hari Katha that I'm going to speak today. Not a single word is mine. When I think of our personal insignificance and unworthiness, then we feel like, it is actually cheating that someone like me is sitting in front of the camera in front of so many exalted devotees. But then I pacify myself by saying this Hari Katha is Guru Maharaj's Hari Katha. And I should just do the service of being the via medium. So all of you, please relish it like that. This is descending. The waterfall of Hari Katha is coming from there. Let us all stand underneath and get wet. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupaha kada mahyam dadati swapadantikam. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Is the voice audible? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, it's perfect.
Okay. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Sri Shukadev Goswami speaks to Parikshit Maharaj, and the 9th canto is being discussed, Srila Shukadev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj that, O Rajan, Sri Ramachandra appeared to Dasharath Maharaj, and they came in 4 forms: Ram, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna. And as he's speaking, as he starts the topic, the oceanic description of Sri Ram Katha, Srila Shukdev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, what can I speak about Sri Ram? I think you have already heard enough about Sri Ram. There is nothing much to be spoken, because through generations, Ram Katha has been discussed and glorified. Now, Parikshit Maharaj's Katha is going on towards the end of Dwapar Yuga, and after which the Bhagavatam appears, and it's the start of Kali Yuga. Sri Ramachandra appeared in Treta Yuga. So the whole of Treta, the whole of Dwapar, it is only Sri Rama Rama Raghunandana Rama Rama Sri Rama Rama Bharatagraja Rama Rama Sri Rama Rama Ranakarkasha Rama Rama Sri Rama Rama Sharanam Bhava Rama Rama Mata Ramo Matpita Ramachandra Swami Ramo Matsakha Ramachandra Sarvaswam Me Ramachandro Dayalu Nanyam Jane Naiva Jane Na Jane Lokabhiramam Ranaranga Dhiram Rajiva Netram Raghuvamshanatham Karunya Rupam Karunakarantam Sri Ramachandram Sharanam Prapadhye Sri Ramachandra Charano Manasa Smarami Sri Ramachandra Charano Vachasa Granami Sri Ramachandra Charano Shirasa Namami Sri Ramachandra Charano Sharanam Prapadhye. It is only Rama Nam, Rama Roop, Rama Gun, Rama Leela that has been discussed. So when Parikshit Maharaj hears the name Ram, he smiles. And Shukdev Goswami says, oh, you have already heard Ram Katha. In every village, in every town, over generations, it is only Sri Ram Nam which is being discussed. In fact, it is discussed by Srila Prabhupada. It's a very interesting class. You will be blown away by what you're going to hear now. Srila Prabhupada says that the deity of Sri Ram was worshipped by King Ikshwaku, who was the forefather of Sri Ram. So years before Sri Ram appeared, Sri Ram's deity, not just Sri Ram, Sita Ram were being worshipped by the forefathers of Sri Ram. And Prabhupada explains, because they were worshipping Sri Ram agreed to appear in their dynasty. Because Yatra Gayanti Madbhaktaha Tatra Tishtami Narada. I appear where I am being worshipped. And so much so that Sri Ram, when he appeared, that deity was still being worshipped. So Sri Ram felt very embarrassed. Prabhupada says this. I'll give you the reference for the class. I was so amazed. Srila Prabhupada mentions that Sri Ramachandra was so embarrassed by his own worship that he took that deity and hid it in the bedroom so that nobody takes it. But in Ayodhya, there used to be a Brahmana who used to break his Ekadashi Vrat. On the day of Dwadashi, he used to come and used to look at the lotus face of Sri Ram, and he used to take his Anna and break his Ekadashi Vrat. So one day he came on Ekadashi, on Dwadashi, to break the Ekadashi Vrat. And then Sri Ram was not there because Sri Ram had left for about a week, only to come back. So when Sri Ram returned, the Brahmana was still sitting there. And Lakshmana told Sri Ram, oh Sri Ram, you were not in the kingdom for 1 week, and this Brahmana has not eaten anything for 1 week, because his vrat is he will break his Ekadashi fast only by looking at the moon of your lotus face. So Sri Ram felt so touched by the devotion of this Brahmana, that this Brahmana had not eaten anything for 1 week, that Sri Ram went into his bedroom and took the deity of Ram. And Sri Ram himself gifted the deity of Sri Ram to that Brahmana and said, never again fast like this and wait for me. You can look at this beautiful deity, and even when I'm not there, you can see the face of this deity and you can break your vrat. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada explains that Sri Ram Tattva is an eternal Tattva. The form of Sri Ram, the name of Sri Ram, the qualities of Sri Ram are eternal. So much so that Krishna in Dwarka, in Dwapar Yuga, used to hear Ramayana, the pastimes of Sri Ram from Treta Yuga. This is how attractive Sri Ram is. This is how attractive. If you take a poll in India of between Ram and Krishna, which side do you want to side? Then most of them would side on the side of Sri Ram, because they can understand the pastimes of Sri Ram, Ekapatni Vrata and Maryada Purushottam. Krishna comes and does things that are inconceivable. Eats dust and transforms it into universe in his mouth. Can you imagine his digestive capacity? We can eat Rasgulla and Gulab Jamun and all that, we can translate that into his energy. But Sri Krishna can take some dust and throw it into his mouth and create Brahmanda. So just to tell Mother Yashoda that don't worry, Maya, my digestive system is developing very well. You can put anything into my mouth and see, I can transform it. And that is his eating. That is his breakfast. And what is his drink? What is his mango lassi? It is Davagni Pan. It is the drinking of forest fire. That is why Krishna told his friends, close your eyes. Because he was thinking that last time they opened their eyes and they saw me eat dirt and they went and complained. This time they will keep their eyes open. They will go and tell Mother Yashoda, That day, what we said was only 50% of the story. 100% today we know. He eats dirt and he drinks fire. So therefore, better you all close your eyes. And, you know, one Acharya says Krishna told all the friends to close their eyes, and like a child blows off a birthday candle, that's how Krishna blew off the forest fire. So every time, dear devotees, you see a child cut a cake and do this to a birthday candle, remember Krishna swallowing the forest fire. You don't have to tell the child to swallow the fire, but just when he blows the fire, remember that this is how Krishna would have done it. So Krishna's pastimes are inconceivable. Lifting of Govardhan hill, dancing on the hoods of a slippery snake like Kaliya. For people like me to dance on a straight stage only, it's difficult. But Krishna is dancing, that too, on the head of a snake, which is venomous. And that too, it's not a straight stage, it's cupped on the surface. So it's not even straight. And that too, the width is so small. And that too, it is slippery. And that too, it is moving. So you can imagine what kind of a Nataraj or Natavara Vapuhu Karanayoho Karanikaram Krishna has. Such a great dancer. Lifting of Govardhan hill, performing Rasa Leela, dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and going for a nice airplane ride on Trinavarta and choking him to death. So many beautiful pastimes. But Sri Ramachandra, we see pastimes that we can relate. He is not jumping and flying like Krishna. He is sitting on the banks or the shore of the ocean and praying, please give me way, please give me way. And it's described when the ocean did not give way, Sri Ramchandra started glancing on the surface of the ocean, and the whole water surface on the ocean started boiling by the glance of Sri Ram. And Varun Dev immediately sprung out, and with folded palms he said, my Lord, please forgive me. I thought you're performing human-like pastimes, and I don't give way to any human. This is why you were playing your role, I was playing my role. You suddenly changed your script, and like the Supreme Lord, you started glancing, and the whole water surface on the ocean started boiling. You see, if we are given a cup of water, and if we are told to glance at that, we can't even boil the surface of the water in a small glass or a cup. But Sri Ram, by the glancing of his eyes, he could make the surface on the ocean boil completely. And Varun Dev said, my Lord, if you play the role of a human-like participant, then I will play the role of a demigod, and I will not give way. But if you play the role of the Supreme Lord, then I have to play the role of the servant. My Lord, you please give me instruction. This whole ocean, including me, we are all at your lotus feet. You instruct and I will do it. So we see how beautifully Sri Ram performed all these pastimes. And Karunya Rupam Karuna Karantam. It's completely filled with Karunyam, compassion, mercy, heart-melting compassion. When in any pastime have we seen Lakshmi being kidnapped? Can we imagine anyone touching Lakshmi and kidnapping in the presence of Narasimhadev? Have we ever heard pastimes of Radharani being kidnapped? But in Ram Leela, we see Mother Sita being kidnapped and Ram crying and weeping and asking the trees and asking Mother Earth, and with his hand, he's scratching the name Sita on the sand. And that depression that he's writing with his fingertip is being filled by the drops of his tears of separation. This can melt any heart. One Sri Vaishnava Acharya says, Sri Ram, your pastimes are more merciful than you, because you can melt only one stone called as Ahalya, but your pastimes can melt all the stone-like hearts of the listeners. How merciful, Sri Ram, you are. How kind and how merciful. Sri Ram, you broke only one bow of Lord Shiva. That bow represents false ego. This is why nobody in that assembly could pick it up. Because to lift one's false ego up and break it in public is very difficult. So that Shiva Dhanush of Sita Swayamvar, we know the pastime, but the inner meaning of that bow is that bow represents false ego, Mithya Hankar. So this is why no Kshatriya, however powerful, could lift that bow. But Sri Ram lifted that bow and broke that bow in humility, showing this, that if anybody can lift and break their false ego in public, then Mother Sita in the form of Bhakti Devi is ready to garland that person and take that person for service, eternal realm. So Bhakti Devi will accept us when we are ready to become humble. But Ramchandra's pastimes are so beautiful. They are breaking the bows of false ego of all the devotees, those who listen. And so many bows in past, present and future The bows of false ego of the listeners have been broken by Sri Ram Katha. Therefore, in India, if you see, they will say we side with Ram. But however, we have to understand Sri Ram and Sri Krishna, they are like fruits. Whether it is mango or whether it is apple or whether it is orange, they are all fruits. The taste of those fruits may be different, but they are all fruits. So Sri Ram and Sri Krishna are Ishvara Tattva. In reality, they are both God, but the rasa, or let's say the taste of those fruits are different. The taste that Uddhava and the gopis taste in Krishna Leela and the rasa that Shabari and Jatayu taste in Ram Leela are different, but they are both dealing as devotees with the Supreme Lord. If you see Ramchandra's description of childhood in the Valmiki Ramayana, hardly 7 or 8 verses and then Valmiki Muni finishes, then continue. But if you see in Krishna Leela, 47 chapters of only childhood. Braj Leela. So Krishna's activities are described to such a great extent. Ramchandra's childhood is not described so much. But Ramchandra's activities, Ramchandra is teaching by Maryada. And Krishna is teaching by pastimes. So therefore Ramchandra is called Maryada Purushottama and Krishna is called Leela Purushottama. Very, very important. Radha and Krishna come to teach bhakti. And Sita and Ram appear to teach us human behavior, moral ethics. Sometimes people ask this question, is it possible to be a good devotee and a bad human being? The answer is no. If there is someone who is a good devotee, chanting, hearing, reading, serving, etc., but human behavior is missing, the ethical, moral values of how to respect each other is missing, then what kind of devotion is that? Therefore, in Treta Yuga, Sita and Ram come to give us the foundation of Maryada. And then later, Radha and Krishna build the Rasa Mahal, not the Taj Mahal, but the Rasa Mahal, the palace of Rasa on top. And in the bottom, Sita and Ram are giving the elementary, fundamental foundation of ethical principles. So today, with that introduction, we will start our discussion now on the auspicious appearance of Sri Ram. We all have celebrated Sri Ram Navami. But now we will hear some sweet descriptions. To everyone on the call, be completely assured there is no hardcore head-racking philosophy coming. We are all towards the end of the day and very tired, I believe. So it's sweet description. There is no prescription. Don't worry. There is no prescription instruction. It's only sweet, sweet descriptions coming from the Ramayana. So let us hear. It is something that we will all relish to a great extent, the descriptions of Sri Ramachandra. We all the time hear about Sri Ram in the forest, or we hear about Sri Ram fighting Ravan. In the Valmiki Ramayana, that reminds me, there is a very beautiful verse. It says that the battle of Ram and Ravan equals only the battle of Ram and Ravan. That is how historic this battle was. But seldom do we get chance to hear about the appearance of Sri Ram. Just like we hear about the appearance of Krishna, we don't get to hear so much about the appearance of Sri Ram. So I thought today, for the next 30 minutes or so, we will hear about the sweet appearance of Sri Ram and how the situation was in Ayodhya, how the situation was with Mother Kaushalya and Dasharath Maharaj as Sri Ram appeared. Actually, crores of years before Sri Ram's advent only, there was prediction about where Sri Ram will appear, when Sri Ram will appear, what tithi, what day, what time, how wonderfully his form will be formed, what his activities will be, what his weapons will be, what his abhushanam, his ornaments will be, who his parents would be, what kind of qualities he will hold, and what kind of activities he will perform. You see, this is all very clearly described in Shastra. Only incarnations like Varahadev and Narsimhadev may be like a spontaneous manifestation. That too for Narsingadev, he had said, Sri Narsingadev had predicted that I will come and destroy Hiranyakashipu. But when, how, what form, from where, no descriptions. You see, Narsingadev made a pillar, his parents. There was no mother, father. He didn't appear from a womb. Narasimhadev did not have, baby Naru childhood pastimes, sitting on the lap of his mother with little claws and, stealing butter. And Narasimhadev's mother is saying, "Why you're stealing butter?" And running and crawling. These things are not there. Narasimhadev was a, instantaneous, spontaneous avatar. Who was his mother? Who was his father? Well, a pillar. He just broke, came. He came, he saw, he conquered, as the saying goes. That holds true for Narasimhadev. But most incarnations of the Supreme Lord are well defined in the Shastra. They're properly explained. So Sri Ramachandra also, he came like that, according to the description in the Shastra, accepted very beautiful, wonderful, eternal parents of his, with whom, in whose lap Sri Ram sat, he played, he drank the breast milk of his mother, had beautiful childhood pastimes. Actually, for any devotee to desire that, may I get the chance to serve the Supreme Lord, that desire is glorious. But more glorious are those who desire that, may I serve the Supreme Lord in Vatsalya Ras, in such a way that the Lord becomes my child and I become the parent. To say that, oh, Tvameva Mata Pita Tvameva is one thing. Oh my Lord, you're my mother, you're my father. But what does that mean? That means that we as children are going to ask him to serve us, because the parents serve the children more than the children serve the parents. But those devotee Vaishnavas, like Devaki, Vasudeva, Prishni, Sutapa, and Kaushalya Devi here, and Dasharath Maharaj, those who as Vaishnava Grihasthas desire that the Supreme Lord should appear as our child, and they do bhajan, and the Supreme Lord reciprocates with their desire and appears as their child. This is certainly very, very glorious. Srila Prabhupada explains that when someone says, "My Lord, you're my father," more glorious than that are those who say, "You are my child and I am your father. So what I am going to say is what you're going to follow," like Mother Yashoda. So you can imagine how happy the situation would have been for Dasharath Maharaj when the Supreme Lord appeared. In fact, Srila Sridhar Swami, in his Bhavartha Tipika commentary to the Bhagavatam, when he talks about incarnations of Sri Hari, he says, Rama Krishna Adi Avataraihi. He says incarnations headed by Rama and Krishna. And there also he says Rama first and then Krishna. So this is the greatness of Sri Ram. Demigods prayed for the appearance of Sri Ram. The Mother Earth was flooded with the weight of unsaintly kings. And the demigods were praying, "My Lord, you please kindly appear." Dasharath Maharaj had also desired. So Sri Ram appeared. And he came in 4 forms. He came as Ram, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrugna. So it's an important lesson that when a devotee desires the Lord to have in one form, the Lord comes in 4 forms. Which means the Lord wants to come to the devotee 4 times faster than the devotee wants to go to the Lord. You see, Dasharath Maharaj prayed for a child, but the Lord came in 4 forms. Demigods prayed for 1 form, but the Lord appeared in 4 forms. Chaturdha Murti. He comes as Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Sudarshan. He comes as Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Ram, Lakshman, Bharata, Shatrugna. Only in Kali Yuga, the Lord takes extra compassion, and instead of coming in 4 forms, he comes in 5 forms. This is the secret behind Sri Chaitanya in 5 features as Panchatattva. Generally, the Lord always comes in 4 forms. But in this Kali Yuga, Panchatattva, not Chaturdha Murti. So the Supreme Lord has 4 times more desire to come to us than we have desire. So everyone has heard the story of how Rishishringa came and performed yajna, and through Veda mantra, how the Havishya Anna was cooked. Some describe that to be a mango, some describe that to be kheer, Havishya Anna. And then we know how it was divided between Kaushalya Devi and Kaikeyi Devi and etc. And how between the 3 queens, the 4 sons appeared. Although they entered the womb of their mothers, it's not a form that they temporarily took. It's an eternal transcendental form. It's not like how conditioned souls like me enter the mother's womb. We are pushed karmana daiva netrena. We don't even know from where we are picked and where we are going, in which family, how we are going to look, and upside down come into this world. But Sri Ramchandra doesn't appear in this world like that. Transcendental form. And he enters the womb of his mother out of happiness. In fact, in the Bhagavatam, it is described that Krishna entered the mind of Vasudeva Maharaj and then entered the heart of Vasudeva Maharaj, and then from the heart of Vasudeva Maharaj to the heart of Mother Devaki, and then from the heart of Devaki into the womb of Devaki. Very, very interesting. I heard this from the lips of my spiritual master, and I was very, very, very surprised to see how wonderfully the Acharyas comment. They say, why did the Supreme Lord enter the mind of Vasudeva Maharaj first before he enters the womb of Devaki Rani? And Srila Guru Maharaj quoted Sripad Harisuri in that section, and he said that Sripad Harisuri ji says that there are a few reasons why Krishna entered the mind of Vasudeva Maharaj first before he entered the womb of Devaki Rani. Said all the acharyas say that the mind cannot catch Krishna, mind cannot catch Krishna, mind cannot catch Krishna. You see, we've always heard that. Even Gajendra says that my Lord, you are far away. Viduraya manasas chetasamapi. For someone, even if they try with their mind, you are a far away reality. So Krishna is showing, yes, your mind cannot catch me, but if you keep your mind like Vasudeva Maharaj, then I will catch that mind. This is why Krishna entered the mind of Vasudeva Maharaj, to show, yes, your mind may not be able to catch me, correct. But if you keep your mind like Vasudeva Maharaj, then I will go and catch your mind. Another reason given by the Acharya is, Krishna was thinking, in this incarnation, I am going to be very, very restless. Of all my incarnations in Krishna Lila, I am most restless. So before we become restless, we have to associate with people who are restless. And of all the senses, the mind is most restless. So to have like-minded association is very important. Therefore, Krishna associated with the mind and then he appeared in this world. Another reason given was, Krishna is going to become Gopal. Gopal. Gopal, Go means cows and Pala means protector or leader. So he who is going to be the protector or the leader of cows is Gopal. But also Go means senses and Pala means the ruler. So who rules over all the senses? That is the mind. So another name for the mind is Gopal. So Krishna thought, before I become Gopal, I should associate with another Gopal just to know how the duties are. So in this way, due to so many wonderful reasons, Krishna entered. And the last reason the Acharya gives is, Krishna thought to himself, Indriyana Manaschasmi. Of all the senses, I myself have said in the Gita, of all the senses, I am the mind. So now is the time to prove it. Instead of entering anywhere else, let me enter my own representative. So in this way, Krishna entered the mind of Vasudeva and then into the heart and then into the womb of Mother Devaki. So Krishna personally enters. When a devotee performs bhakti, Krishna personally enters. And Sri Ram, similarly, he entered the womb of Mother Kaushalya. And the Acharyas describe, when Sri Ram entered the womb of his mother, there was happiness in all directions. Everything became happy. Everyone became happy. Everything became auspicious. In fact, the nakshatras, the directions, the grahas, the constellations, we are so much worried about astrological calculations and how is the astrology? How is the lagna? How is the nakshatra? How is the graha placement? What was the muhurta? But when Sri Ram appeared, it is not that Ram appeared and then the chart was calculated on the basis of the ascendant, the lagna or the nakshatra or the graha placement. They did not place themselves in a way to bless Ram. It is described by the Acharyas, all the muhurtas, all the grahas, all the nakshatras, all the lagnas, they moved in such an anukul, in such an auspicious manner, so that they could bless themselves by the presence of Sri Ram. So whenever Sri Ram appears, that is most auspicious. Ram's personality, Ram's characteristics are not moved by the astrological presence. You see, in this world, depending on how the astrological positions are, people behave accordingly. And I myself, I have seen that. When you read through charts, we can see that in a certain dasha, people behave according to the dasha that is going on. Like, for example, in one chart, where I personally saw that chart, and I saw that this person had Jupiter in his second house, and second house represents throat, second house represents assets, monetary assets, And Jupiter is a very good planet to be in the second house. You will have a big family. You will be always speaking like Guru, because Brihaspati is Guru, is this teacher of Indra. So he was asking me, what kind of career you think I should get into? I said, that's not even a question. You have Jupiter in your second house. You should be a teacher. And he said, I have always been getting offers for teaching and it comes naturally to me, but I was still thinking maybe I should get into the IT world. I said, you should not get into the IT world. You will make lots of money and lot of assets just by teaching. He said, oh, I like to teach. It comes naturally to me. And it's something that I get offers, but I've been pushing it to the side. So you can see people having characteristics according to their chart. You could have someone with, let's say a badly placed Rahu, and in the dasha, you can see them behave in a certain way. I have seen people even leave Krishna consciousness during a certain dasha, planetary dasha. So my point is, astrological influence on conditioned souls is definitely there. But for Sri Ram, it is not that the astrological positions were as they were and Sri Ram appeared at a certain time. No, they aligned themselves in such a way that they could bless themselves by Sri Ram's appearance. They could bless themselves with Sri Ram's appearance. Even Sri Krishna's appearance, Bhagavatam describes Kalaha Paramashobhanam. Kalaha Paramashobhanam. The time was most auspicious. If you see, according to astrology, during that time, 5,000 years ago, in the middle of the night, it was most inauspicious. Why does Shukdev Goswami say Kalaha Paramashobhanam? Because astrology is secondary. Grahas are secondary. Anugraha is primary. Ask yourself, do you want to be under Graha or do you want to be under Anugraha? Graha means planet, Anugraha means mercy. So when Krishna appears, that time is most auspicious. Sometimes people say, oh, I cannot chant, I cannot perform this because Sutak laga hai, there is death in my family, 10 days, it is inauspicious. Well, if you think it is inauspicious, Madhuram Madhure Bhyopi Mangale Bhyopi Mangalam, then make it auspicious by chanting the holy name. Make it auspicious by invoking the Supreme Lord. Wherever the Supreme Lord appears in the form of his holy name, it is auspicious everywhere. So here Murtiman Swarup Sri Ram is appearing. And it has been described in the Shastra. All the lagnas, the nakshatra, the graha, the muhurta, the directions. Bhumi, Apaha, Anala, Vayu, come. Everybody became so happy. Everybody. Just like in the Bhagavatam, exactly like 10th canto. When Krishna appeared, everything became so happy. Also, on the contrary, it has been described. You can read in the Bhagavatam, in the description of the appearance of Varahadev. Shukdev Goswami says, when Varahadev appeared, all the sages became happy, except one person. That was Diti herself. Diti, from whose breasts milk would drip out of maternal affection. But when Varahadev appeared, Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha, there was blood dripping from her breast instead of motherly affectionate milk, as a symptom that very soon there is going to be something inauspicious. So when the Lord appears, only demons will be uncomfortable. Only demons and inauspicious people will feel uncomfortable and fearful. But everyone will feel very happy. Another test we can ask ourselves, when we chant the holy name, do we feel uncomfortable? If the answer is yes, there is some demoniac propensity. There is some demoniac propensity. Another interesting test. When Krishna appeared, Vasudeva and Devaki were awake. But Kamsa's men were sleeping. Kamsa's men never slept at night. But when Krishna appeared, they all went to sleep, mysteriously. So we have to ask ourselves, when Krishna appears in the form of Japa, when Krishna appears in the form of Harikatha, am I awake like Devaki and Vasudeva? Or do I happily go to sleep like the men of Kamsa? Very interesting introspective point. During Harikatha, do I fall asleep? When Krishna in the form of Harikatha is coming to relieve me from the jail of Kamsa-like material existence, do I go off to sleep or am I awake like Vasudeva Maharaj, ready for action? This is another test. So anyway, when Ramachandra appeared, there was happiness in all directions. Absolute happiness in all directions. In fact, coming back to the 10th canto, कृष्ण भक्त है तो घूम फिर के दशम स्कंद आ ही जाता है. Even if you try to speak Ram Katha, somehow 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. So anyway, coming back to the point. In the 10th canto, when Devaki and Vasudev, you see, had so much trouble. 6 children were killed and the 7th disappeared. Baladev Prabhu disappeared. And then Krishna entered the womb. There was so much reason for disappointment and sorrow. Both husband and wife are locked up in the prison. No hope, no way. They are already almost chained like animals. Animals are chained through the neck and to the feet. You can see many times some animals are chained through, they are bound through the neck, and some are bound through the feet. Vasudeva and Devaki were bound through the hands and the feet and the neck. Even if the hands were released, sometimes feet and neck were there, as if they were Pashu. So husband and wife in the prison, chained like animals. 6 of their children murdered in front of them. 7th disappeared. There is no reason to be happy. But when Krishna entered, even at that time, Srimad Bhagavatam describes Devaki and Vasudeva were so ecstatic, astonishingly happy. Kamsa was counting. Kamsa was good at mathematics, it seems. So he came to the right conclusion, this must be the 8th child. So Kamsa came to the prison. And Bhagavatam describes, he saw Devaki Rani, and the word used by Shukdev Goswami is Susmita. She was not just smiling, Sushtu. Sushtu means big, and Smita means smiling. She was smiling end to end in happiness. Kamsa came to see if this is the 8th child which has entered the womb of Devaki. And when he saw Devaki Rani smiling so happily, he was thinking, 6 of her children have been mercilessly killed. 7th has disappeared somehow. Husband and wife are in the jail, and there is no way out, and all the children are dead. There is no way how she can be smiling so much. Even Kamsa understood there is only one reason. Vishnu must have entered the womb of Devaki. That is why she is so happy. Kamsa knew that only when Vishnu enters the womb can someone be so happy. Arey Baba Kans Maharaj, if you knew so much, why don't you become a devotee then? When you know, when Vishnu enters the heart, the person becomes happy. Dear Kams Maharaj, then why did you not become a devotee? Why don't you become a devotee? Anyway, some people are like that. They are the HNS category. Hum nahi sudrenge category. How much ever Krishna gives them hint, they will not change. Anyway, so coming back to Sri Ramachandra entering the womb of Mother Kaushalya. When Ramachandra entered his mother's womb, how much happiness. There was natural happiness in the life of Mother Kaushalya. Ramante yogino anante satyananda chidatmani iti rama padenasau parabrahma vidheyate. This verse comes even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's originally from the Rama Rahasya Upanishad. It is also found in the Rama Upanishad. Very, very beautiful verse. Ramante yogino anante. The word Ram has been defined. What does the word Ram mean? Those sages who don't even have a desire in their mind to enjoy this world. They have a lock on all their senses. Through their eye, they don't enjoy anything. Through their ear, they don't enjoy anything. Through the mouth, they don't enjoy anything. Through the mind, they don't enjoy anything. Those saints, those sadhus who have no conception of enjoying this world, if they desire to enjoy the service of a certain person, that person is called Sri Ram. That's how the Shastras describe. You see, if we say Ram is that person who attracts my heart, well, that is not a very big, very good description, because even ice cream attracts my heart. So what kind of definition is that? Even chocolate may attract my heart. Even watching TV or cricket may attract my heart. So if I say Ram attracts my heart, it is not a very big definition. But if I say those sages who don't get attracted with the thought of enjoying this world, even in the presence of opportunity to enjoy, like see Haridas Thakur, the prostitute is coming and surrendering herself, but he is not. Even the thought of enjoying her association is not coming. Why? Because he is enjoying the names of Sri Ram. So Ramante Yogino Anante, millions and millions of yogis who are completely materially detached, if they desire the association or the service of a certain person, iti Rama Padena, so that must be the lotus feet of Sri Ram. That must be the lotus feet of Sri Ram. In the Tulsi Ramayana, there are countless verses which glorify Sri Ram. Very, very beautiful. In one such verse, it has been described, Jo chetan ko jad karahi chaitanya, asa samartha raghunaya kahi, bhajatahi jivate dhanya. That who is Sri Ram? Jo chetan ko jad kare. He who can make living into non-living, moving into non-moving. And at the same time, he can do the other way also. Jad karahi chaitanya. He can make non-moving into moving, non-living into living, inanimate into animate. Jo chetan ko jad karahi chaitanya, asa samartha raghunayakahi. If there is some person who can do that, that is Sri Ram. And bhajatahi jivate dhanya. And someone who worships his lotus feet is most glorious. Most glorious. Even when Kak Bushundi, the famous crow devotee of Sri Ram, is speaking Ram Katha, and Garudji comes to him and says, can you explain the essence of the whole Ramayana? What is the essence that I have to know? So Kak Bushundi says that, O Shri Khagaraj, so he who is the king of the birds and he who is the enemy of all snakes, Uragari. O Uragari, O enemy of the snakes and O king of all birds, please understand what is the essence of Ramayana. He says the essence of Ramayana is Bhaji Rama Pada Pankaja Asa Siddhanta Vichari. The Siddhant that one must have vichar about is only one. Bhajiha Rama Pada Pankaja. Worshipping the lotus feet of Sri Ram. There is nothing else beyond it. And anyone who does this, he crosses the ocean of birth and death. In that, there is another beautiful verse where it says that if you crush sand, you may get oil. If you move water, you may get butter. Are these all possible? Not possible. It says you may be able to crush sand and you may get oil. You may be able to move water and you may be able to get butter out of it. That is all possible. But crossing this ocean, this Bhavasagara, without Rama Bhakti is impossible, impossible, impossible. All the impossibilities in this world may also become possible. You may be able to count the number of atoms in this world. You may be able to count the number of stars in this world. You may even be able to count the number of raindrops or snowflakes. But to cross over the ocean of birth and death without performing bhajan at the lotus feet of Ram is impossible. It is not possible. That is the position of Sri Ram. Sadhaka, Siddha, Vimukta, Udasi, Kavi Kovida, Kritagya Sannyasi, Yogi, Shur, Sutapasa Gyani, Dharma, Nirata, Pandita Vigyani, Tarahina na Vinum, Te Mama Swami, Rama Namami, Namami, Namami. Goswami Tulsidas ji says that there are different kinds of people in this world. Sadhaka, some are sadhakas, some are siddha, some are vimukta, liberated, some are renounced, udasin, some are kavi, some are poets, kovida, some are experts, kritagya, some are knower of dharma, sannyasi, some are sannyasis, yogi, some are yogis, shur, some are brave, sutapasa, some are very austere, sutapasa jnani, some are very intelligent, dharma nirata, some follow dharma very well, pandita, some are very sharp and well versed, and vigyani, some are very experienced and realized. They may all be there. Tulsidas ji says, Sadhaka, Siddha, Vimukta, Udasi, Kavi, Kovida, Kritagya, Sannyasi, Yogi, Shur, Sutapasa, Jnani, Dharma, Nirata, Pandita, Vigyani. But one thing is for sure, Taraina Vinu Sei Mama Swami, the Ram Namami, Namami, Namami. They cannot cross this ocean without my Swami. Therefore, I am none of these 15. I know only one thing, to bow down at the lotus feet of my Lord. Tulsidas ji writes. So this is the position of Sri Ram. So you can imagine when that abode of happiness and that abode of all solutions to all problems entered the womb of his mother, how happy everything became. Dashrath Maharaj's queens are by nature very beautiful. And now imagine God is entering their womb, how beautiful they will become. How beautiful. Not just them. Shastras describe human beings, animals, insects, birds, fishes, demigods, rivers, mountains, trees, Mother Earth, Mother Nature. Everybody became happy. They started celebrating the birth of Sri Ram. You can imagine Ram is the appearance of joy. So imagine his appearance, how much joy would have appeared. Naturally, everything became very beautiful. You know, my Guru Maharaj was quoting a joke. He said, very, very interesting. He said, at Dashashwamedha Ghat in Banaras, he said, I have been there so many times. And one thing is common. Whichever place of the ghat you go to, you will find a lot of beggars. He said, Dashashwamedha Ghat means countless beggars. He said, one day I went there and it was completely clean and not a single beggar. I asked someone, what is this? Did I come to a wrong place? So he said, no, Indira Gandhi is supposed to come here today. So all the beggars have been taken out of place, you know, and the whole place has been cleaned with rangoli, etc. So Indira Gandhi is coming, so everything is cleansed. So Guru Maharaj said, oh, okay. He came the next day. He said the beggars were back. He said Indira Gandhi came and she went and they came back. So when explaining, Srila Guru Maharaj said, so for Indira Gandhi, if the place can be cleaned and decorated with so much cleanliness, imagine how much Mother Nature would have decorated herself for the appearance of Sri Ram. And she did not decorate herself in such a way that before Ram came, it was clean, and after Ram came, all the beggars came back. It wasn't like that. She cleaned herself. Mother Earth decorated herself. Prakriti Devi, nature decorated herself. And also the right tithi of Sri Ram's appearance has been described. Ramchandra appeared on Navami. Now we all know Ram Navami, Sita Navami. But what is the glory of this Navami Tithi? This is not discussed so much. Now listen to this. It is so beautiful. According to Tithi, Navami Tithi is also called as Maryada Tithi. Like Sri Ram. Why? Because if there is a vrat that is supposed to be done on Ekadashi, let's say, right? We are supposed to do an Ekadashi vrat. But many times we know when the Ekadashi vrat has a mix of Dashami, then what do? We fast, we leave the fasting on that day and we fast on Dwadashi, the next day. This is the culture. When that day is not worth fasting, we fast the next day, which means on Pratipad, first day you can't fast, you fast on the second day. Dvitiya you can't fast, you fast on Tritiya. Tritiya you can't fast, then Chaturthi. Chaturthi you can't fast, then Panchami. So in this way, we can hear your household thoughts. The secrets are out. Okay, good. I mean, I was just concerned that Grihastha talk should be at home for obvious reasons. Okay, so I was mentioning that a certain tithi, when it's contaminated in some way or there's a mix, then we fast the next day. You can do that on all the tithis except Navami. Why? Because on Navami, if there is a mix, then you fast on Dashami. But then when do you break that Dashami fast? On Ekadashi? No, you can't. All other tithis, you can fast the next day and you can break the fast. But on Navami, if there is a fast and you say, well, I'll not fast today and I'll fast the next day, and you fast on Dashami, then you have to break the Dashami when? The next day, on Ekadashi. But Ekadashi you can break. So on all tithis, you can move the fast to the next day. But only Navami Tithi on the astrological calendar is such that the fast must be done on that day. It is one without a second. And the rules must be followed. So Sri Ram picked that tithi because he's also one without a second, following the rules to the perfection. So Navami Tithi. And what was the month in which Sri Ram appeared? Well, we say March, April. But traditionally, of course, now we say January, February, March, April. Because of all those 12 months in our dictionary, we have forgotten the actual calculation. So let's go to the basics. We say Chaitra, Vaishak, Jeshtha, Ashad, Shravan, Bhadrapad, Ashwin, Kartik, Margashirsh, Paush, Magha, and Phalgun. These are the 12 months. And it's interesting. 2 months constitute one season. So there are 6 seasons, 12 months and 6 seasons. Like Chaitra and Vaishak is Vasanta or spring. So in our calendar, that is March to May. Then Jeshtha and Ashad is Grishma, that is summer. So in our calendar, that is May to July. Then Shravan and Bhadrapad is Varsha Rutu, that is rain. that is July, August and September. And then after that, Ashwin and Kartik is Sharatkal, Sharad Ritu, that's autumn. That's, moving ahead. And then Margashirsh and Paush is Hemant. It's post-autumn. It's November, December, January. And then Magh and Phalgun is Shishir Ritu. That is January, February, and March. So in this way, the calendar was calculated in the past. So we know Mahaprabhu appeared in Phalgun. So that is Magh and Phalgun are Shishir. Also we know Pushya Abhishek. We say Pushya Abhishek. Why Pushya Abhishek? Because it is in the month of Paush. Margashirsh and Paush. So that is November, December, January. Krishna says of all the months I'm Margashirsh. Masana Margashirshoham. And the Chatur Mas we know Shravan, Bhadrapad, Ashwin, Kartik. We say Kartik Mas. So those are the names of the month. So which month did Sri Ram appear in? It is described he appeared in the month of Chaitra, which is also March, April time. And in Sanskrit it is called as Madhu Mas. Madhu Mas. Why Madhu Mas? Because that is the time. Madhu means honey and Mas means month. So that is the month where spring season, maximum honey is collected by the bees from the freshly blossomed flowers. And Sri Balaramji, it is described again in the Bhagavatam. He lived in Vrindavan when he came for 2 months. Madhu Madhav, Chaitra and Vaishak. So Chaitra Mas is called Madhu Mas and Vaishak is called Madhav Mas. So Sri Ramchandra appeared in Madhu Mas, which is Chaitra. Why Madhu Mas? Because he is the abode of sweetness. He is like honey. So the honey bee, like pure devotees, they collected the honey of Ram Bhakti and called in Sri Ram, who is Madhusudan himself. He is the abode of Madhu. So he appeared in Madhu Mas. In the month of spring. Now moving ahead, what was the exact time when he appeared? He appeared in Shukla Paksha. Now we know in every month there is 2 Pakshas. There is Shukla Paksha and Krishna Paksha. One going from Amavasya to Purnima, from no moon to full moon is called Shukla Paksha. And that which goes from full moon to no moon is called Krishna Paksha. That which goes with increasing brightness is the bright fortnight. And that which goes from full moon to no moon with decreasing brightness is called the dark fortnight. So Sri Ram appeared in the Shukla Paksha to tell us that even if you are like Amavasya with no good qualities, don't worry. I appeared in the bright fortnight. If you perform bhakti to me, I will increase the light of your devotional service. So he appeared. So exactly everything is given in Shastra. Ramchandra appeared in the month, Chaitra Mas, March, April, Madhu Mas, because he's the abode of sweetness. In that, Shukla Paksha, in increasing brightness. In that, the 9th day, Navami Tithi. Now, what Muhurta did he appear in? Ram appeared in a Muhurta called as Abhijit Muhurta. Abhijit. We may have heard many boys have this name Abhijit. So why Abhijit Muhurta? Because in Sanskrit, Abhitaha Jayati iti Abhijitaha. Abhitaha means outside. Jayati means to win. He who is appearing outside the mother's womb only to win is called Abhijit. Also, Abhitaha Jayam Dadati iti. He who is appearing outside only to give victory to the devotees against the evil forces is Abhijit. So we can see Ram appeared in Abhijit Muhurta. Even Krishna appeared in Abhijit Muhurta. So the word Abhijit means he who is externally victorious over all the forces of demons, or he who gives us the ability to win over demons. Sri Ram, so everything is described. The month is described, the fortnight is described, the day is described, the Muhurta is described. Now what time did Ram appear in? Ram appeared at noon, at exactly half. Because Ram, it's very interesting. Ram appeared in Surya Vansha and he appeared when the sun was maximum, noon. And Krishna appeared in Chandra Vansha and he appeared when the moon was maximum, which is midnight. Very, very interesting. Now, why did Ram appear in Surya Vansha and why did Krishna appear in Chandra Vansha? That is also a very interesting analysis. You see, according to Shastra, Krishna has 16 top transcendental opulences. 64 transcendental qualities that separate. Krishna is called Shodashakala Yukta, which means he is filled with 16 prominent opulences. How many phases does the moon have? The moon has 16 phases. The moon has First day, Pratipad. Second day, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, Ashtami, Navami, Dashami, Ekadashi, Dwadashi, Trayodashi, Chaturdashi, Purnima, and Amavasya. So 16 phases of the moon mapped to the 16 opulences of Sri Krishna. So Krishna as the moon of Vrindavan appeared in the moon dynasty. And Sri Ram has 12 prominent opulences and 12 maps with the 12 phases of the sun. We know the sun goes through 12 zodiac signs. We know Makar Sankranti. That's the only Sankranti we know. Sankranti means when sun enters a zodiac sign. He enters one zodiac sign every month. So there are 12 Sankrantis in a year. But we only know Makar Sankranti because that's the day we can eat pongal and we can fly kites. That's all that we know. But the sun has 12 phases as it goes through 12 zodiac signs. And because Sri Ram is full in 12 prominent opulences and Krishna is full in 16, 16 maps with the 16 phases of the moon and the 12 maps with the 12 phases of the sun, Sri Ram appears in the Surya Vansha, solar dynasty, and Krishna appears in the Chandra Vansha or the lunar dynasty. So there is a meaning why the Supreme Lord appears at a certain time, in a certain family, in a certain matter. And as Sri Ram appeared, it is described, Mother Earth and nature, they came together with Sheetal Manda Sugandhit Pavana, which means the breeze were very cold, very slow, very fragrant. The minds of the sadhus became very satisfied and blissful and peaceful. Trees, forests became filled with fruits, flowers, and leaves to welcome the springing of the source of all devotion, Sri Ram. Trees which were barren, which means they never had any fruits or flowers, they were filled with different colors, different shapes, different sizes, and different fragrances of flowers. Automatically, waterfalls started emerging from the mountains. The mountains which have to be, or the Mother Earth has to be dug to get different precious stones which are there inside mountains. It is described in the Shastra, when Ram entered the womb of Mother Kaushalya, automatically the mountains started displaying their inner wealth as diamonds came ahead and they were shining forth. There was no need to dig to get any gold or any precious pearl. Rivers were flowing not with Amrit, not with water, but with Amrit, which means nectar. And that was the situation of nature and Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is getting ready to be touched by the lotus footprint of Sri Ram. What about in the sky? Demigods headed by Brahma, they saw what is happening. Their prayers are being answered. So demigods with decorated airplanes, so many demigods. Of course, when we think of demigods with airplanes, we always think of Lord Shiva on Nandi. We have to understand Nandi, only the shape is like a bull. He's not a bull. He's like a demigod. So he only is, like, for example, if the aircraft from a distance seems like a mosquito, that doesn't mean it's a mosquito. You know, it's a full Boeing 747. Similarly, Nandi seems like in the shape of a bull. And Brahma's order carrier may seem to be in the shape of a swan. But they are not swan and Nandi just like that. They're demigods. And they're like Kalpavriksha trees themselves. So all the demigods like Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Indra, Chandra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, all of these demigods with their consorts on their airplanes, filled with garlands and celestial flowers, they all with their palms full, with their mouths full of the holy name, with their hearts overfull with joy, with their palms full of flowers and sanctified holy sacred water from the heavenly abode. They were all rushing in the sky. There was a traffic there going towards Ayodhya. And they were all there to welcome Sri Ram. Only we humans on Ram Navami, we don't celebrate properly. We asked some devotee, what were you doing on Ram Navami? Kuch nahi Prabhuji, office ka kaam tha. This is human, unfortunate human beings like us. We are not able to celebrate Ramchandra's appearance properly. But on Ramchandra's appearance, demigods are, Gandharvas are singing and Apsaras are dancing. All the arts were being offered from the sky. And excellent garments, excellent ornaments. They're all with their gifts and skills and wealth and flowers. They're carrying anna also to give in charity. The Ayodhya sky is filled with airplanes. All the demigods are so happy. But however, the citizens of Ayodhya could not see, because Yoga Maya had covered all the demigods by the white clouds. But the Gandharvas were loudly singing the name of Sri Ram with instruments, and the Apsaras were dancing with so much devotion. So much devotion. And at that time, all the pure Vaishnavas, Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Narada Muni, Vyasadev, all these great Vaishnavas who are eternal associates of the Lord, they are all celebrating the appearance of Sri Ram. Of course, when we think about it, the critical mind may think, how is it possible in the sky, all these demigods? It's like the ants in our room. If you tell them, there was a birthday celebration and there was cake cutting and there was a loud kirtan and so many devotees came, the ants will think, what are they talking about? How is it even possible? So we are like ants in Krishna's creation. We can't understand. Therefore, all the acharyas and the commentators are very kindly explaining to us how the situation was. Palm full of flowers showering from the sky in Ayodhya. Can we imagine how every street, every home would have been decked up with rangoli and toran and so many wonderful colors in the sky? How beautiful the streets would have been decorated. How beautiful the citizens of Ayodhya may have been looking. The sages are all singing maybe with kartals, and the brahmanas are chanting mantras. Garbhastuti is going on as Sri Ram has entered the womb. All of this that happened in the 10th canto, we can understand this happening in Treta Yuga, in Ayodhya as Sri Ram enters. How beautiful Ayodhya is decked up. And how much more Ayodhya will look beautiful when Ram will appear and he will crawl and play and beautifully, wonderfully bless Mother Earth in the land of Ayodhya with his childhood footprints. At that time, Kaushalya Devi fell in Yoga Maya and Sri Ram appeared from the womb of Kaushalya. It was like the moon which appeared from the ocean of milk. Kaushalya Devi's womb was the ocean of affection, and Sri Ram was the full moon who appeared. Our acharyas describe Sri Ram appeared as the most merciful Lord. Why did Lord Ram appear? He took birth so that we stop taking birth in this world. The Supreme Lord takes birth so that we stop taking birth in this world. Prapanne prapanche nishprapanchopi vidambayasi bhutale prapanna janatanando sandoham pratitum prabho anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham astitaha bhajate tadrishi krida yashrutva tatparo bhavet. Sri Ramchandra appeared. We appear again and again, again and again, again and again we take birth. So Sri Ram appears and takes birth only so that when we speak and remember his birth, we will stop taking birth. And how did Lord Ram appear? He appeared in such a way. Acharyas describe Sri Ram appeared with 4 hands. Just like we know Krishna appeared in 4 hands, with 4 hands in Mathura. Sri Ramchandra appeared with 4 hands. Imagine a child in the hospital born with 4 hands. The parents will do some surgery and take 2 hands off because they will think it's abnormal. But Sri Ram appeared with 4 hands. Very beautiful. And not just that, he had complete locks of soft black curly hair, completely full grown. Kids, when they're born bald. And before we die, we have to surrender all the hair back. We grow bald first and then we die. So we gain hair from Mother Earth, from Mother Nature. And before we die, we have to surrender all the hair and all the teeth before we go. But Ramchandra appeared with all the hair. Of course, while speaking Ram Katha, we should not speak about ourselves. But the nature of thought process is, till the time we don't compare, we cannot understand the glory of the Lord's appearance. Only when we go through a dark tunnel can we appreciate the bright light. So when we see how we are born and how the Supreme Lord appears, then we understand. Kakaha Krishna, Pikaha Krishna. Vasanta Samaye Kakaha Kakaha, Pikaha Pika. There is a question asked that the crow is also black and the cuckoo is also black. What is in complexion? So what is the difference? So the poet says, yes, they may both look dark in complexion, but Vasanta Samaye, during the spring season, Kakaha Kakaha, Krishnaha Krishnaha. Which means Pikaha Pikaha, which means when the spring season comes and the time to sing comes, so then we understand which is the cuckoo and which is the crow. So similarly, I also ate dirt. Krishna is also eating dirt. I also share my food with my friends, and Krishna also did the same. Yeah, Kakah Krishna, Pikah Krishna, but Vasanta Samaye Kakah Kakah, Pikah Pikah. But when you compare, then we understand Krishna is Paramatma, and we are just moving around in this world. Ram appeared with weapons in his hand, Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma, or maybe bow and arrow, and with all his opulences, appeared cloud-like opulence. He did not have any, birth fluid on his body. He didn't have any blood. He was not smeared with substances that we are smeared with as children when we are born in this world. Children come in this world crying. If they don't cry, if children are born and they don't cry, the nurse picks them up and so that they start crying. But Sri Ram, when he appeared, he was not crying. Sri Ram appeared in this world to stop our crying. How beautiful. When we discuss about Sri Ram, we will stop crying. We cry in this world, we don't know, kahan aa gaye wapas, wahi zamane mein. Again, same parents, punarapi jananam. But Sri Ram appeared. He was standing. He had a fully developed spinal cord. Sri Ramchandra was, as he appeared from his mother's womb, effulgence, complete effulgence. Mother Kaushalya is in Yogamaya. Sri Ram appears with locks of soft black hair up to his shoulder, cascaded up to his shoulder, smiling, beautiful lotus-like eyes, 4 hands, effulgence in the whole room, cloud-like complexion, smiling, not crying. Children in this world, they are born crying, and that's the first cry, and then so much more crying. In the womb also they were crying. And then when they're born also they're crying. Later bed bugs are biting, mosquitoes are biting, they still cry. They cannot say what is happening. Injections are given, they cry. Stomach pain, they cry. Hunger also they cry. Sleep also they cry. So crying is the only thing that the child knows to do. But Sri Ram was not crying. He appeared in a beautiful way, in such a way that we can stop our crying. Also when Ram appeared, impeccable memory. Ram appeared and started speaking to his parents. Actually, you know, you have done vrat for so many lifetimes. That's why I have appeared to you. Ram is speaking like Krishna spoke to Devaki and Vasudeva. Can we imagine children speaking as soon as they're born? Parents will get heart attack. If child starts speaking immediately after birth, parents will get heart attack. Here, our memory is so weak. As children, you can imagine in the Kumbh Mela, so many people are there. Parents put chit in the front pocket of the child with the name and the address. Kahin kho jaye to isko ye ghar is pata mein chhod dena. You know, if he is lost somewhere, bring him back to his home. So this is the kind of our memory. We don't even know the memory to our own house. And even in old age, we get dementia and we forget our spouse and our children. And in the middle, when we remember everything, we say, I am God. This is real foolishness. Real foolishness. But Sri Ram has memory about everyone. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhutani cha bhavishyani mam tu vedana kaschana. I remember everything, dear devotees, says Sri Ram. So Ram starts speaking about his reason of his appearance. And also Sri Ram appears to reduce the burden of Mother Earth. We appear to increase the burden of Mother Earth. You know, we appear and then we eat 4 rasgullas and 4 samosas and 180 pounds have increased on Mother Earth because of us. What weight on Mother Earth have we reduced? Ram came, Jayatu Prithvi Bhara Nashro Mukunda. He came to reduce the weight of Mother Earth. We cannot reduce, but प्रभु जी और थोड़ा चटनी डाल देना, प्रभु जी और थोड़ा एक आलू पराठा, हाँ एक और ले आ जाना. बस when we leave the home program, already Mother Earth's weight has increased. All glories to us. So this is the difference between the Lord's Avirbhav and our Janma. Also when Sri Ram appeared, he came with his own clothes. You know, children are born dressed by the 10 directions. That is how children are born. And later when there has to be clothes for them, you have to measure and stitch according to their dress. Ram did not have any tailor who had to measure his, you know, half pant and full pant and all of these things. Sri Ramchandra came with his own garments. He came with his own eternal clothing and flower garlands and ornaments. Such a beautiful, this is why the Supreme Lord says, Janma karma chame divyam. My appearance is completely transcendental. It's not like your appearance, says Ramachandra. And as he he was speaking Sri Ramachandra with blossomed eyes as an ocean of beauty and compassion. Kaushalya Devi at that time, she looked at Sri Ram and with folded palm, she started offering prayers. Said, my Lord, how can I glorify you? You are God. You are beyond Sattva, Rajas and Tamas of this world. You are not born out of Maya. You are the Lord of Maya. In fact, the Vedas sit at your lotus feet. Kaushalya Devi was very well read and had heard a lot of Shastra from the Brahmanas. So, she was reading and hearing every day. Therefore, the Lord appeared to her. So Kaushalya Devi started telling Sri Ram, you are actually Lakshmipati. I am simply your servant. I am very fortunate to be your mother. There are millions and millions of universes in one pore of your hair. How can I hold you in my body? It is not possible. If I tell someone I held Ram in my womb, people will laugh. Now look at Mother Kaushalya's reasoning. She says millions and millions of universes are held in the pore of your body. And if I tell that I held you in my womb, people will laugh. How is it even possible? Shripad Bilva Mangala Thakur says, Yad Roma Randra Paripurtha Vidava Daksham. He says that when Varahadev appeared, how big was Varahadev? All the oceanic water of this creation could fit into one hair pore of his body, that to 50%. That is how big he was. And that same Varahadev, when he appeared as Krishna to Mother Yashoda, what was Mother Yashoda doing? 1 cup water in the bathtub and chalo ho gaya snan. Your bath is over. He in whose one hair pore the whole creational oceanic water is present as Varahadev. That Lord, when he came as Krishna, Mother Yashoda is taking 1 palmful of water. Krishna Yaswaha. Chalo, now leave. Done with all your bath. This is affection. So Kaushalya Devi is telling Sri Ram, you are holding universes in your hair pore. And if I say that I held you in my womb, it is such a joke. Nobody will believe. Therefore, please become small. Become like a child. First of all, people will not believe. Secondly, people will understand you are Bhagavan. Third, I will not be able to relate to you as a mother. Please become small. Become like a child. And Ramchandra is thinking, why did I even think of appearing to Kaushalya Devi? It is only to play in her lap as a child. This gyan that she is giving me, this I receive in Vaikuntha also. I don't have to come to Ayodhya to receive this, that I am beyond Maya, I am beyond Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. This I get everywhere. I want motherly affection. Just like when Krishna looked into the mouth of, when Mother Yashoda looked into the mouth of Krishna and saw the universe, she was amazed. Krishna thought, I want a mother, I don't want a jnani. So all that Krishna did was close his mouth and he smiled. Madhuram Madhuram Vapurasya Vibho, Madhuram Madhuram Vadanam Madhuram, Madhu Gandhim Radusmita Metadaho, Madhuram 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 Madhuram. How beautiful. Krishna's smile is so beautiful. So when Krishna smiled, Mother Yashoda forgot what she saw in the mouth. Similarly, Sri Ramachandra, he saw, Mother Kaushalya is glorifying me so much. I didn't come for glorification. Maya, I want your chastisement. I want your thapad. I want to crawl in your courtyard. I want you to pick me up and pat my back. And when I cry, I want you to breastfeed me. And when I want to play, I want you to play with me. And when I'm not feeling asleep, I want you to give me bedtime stories. This is what I have come to taste. But he saw Kaushalya Devi was on and on with verses. So what did Ramachandra do? He smiled. And when he smiled, the power of Sri Ramachandra's smile was such, Mother Kaushalya forgot. Every bit of Shastra that she had learned, she forgot. How do we understand this? This is how we understand this. When we learn harmonium, we learn sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa. We learn. And we practice sa re ga ma pa dha. We practice on the harmonium. But the purpose is not to play sa re ga ma pa. What is the purpose? The purpose is to play songs. And when you play songs, you forget whether it is sa or pa or dha or whatever. So you learn sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa to play a song so that you forget sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. Correct? So all the Shastric verses, all the purport, all the tika, the commentaries are coming to the point to make us fall in love with the Lord. And when we fall in love with the Lord, we have to forget all the information of the head. All the verses, all the Shastra is to be read to come to the point of playing the song of love. And once that is achieved, then you can forget the Saregama Padanisa. Then it's not needed. So Mother Kaushalya had learned the Saregama Padanisa of Bhakti so well. Ramchandra smiled, and now she was ready to sing the song of Vatsalya Prem. And at that time, as Ramachandra smiled and Mother Kaushalya forgot everything, immediately Sri Ramachandra became a child. Just like Mother Devaki told Krishna, and Krishna became a little child. Tatascha Shaurer Bhagavat Prachoditaha Sutam Samadaya Sasutika Grahat. Similarly, Sri Ram also became a small child and slept on the lap of Mother Kaushalya. Mother Kaushalya's chest was overflowing with affection, with Matru Sneha. She was speaking out of so much knowledge, but now she had reached the ultimate peak of the mountain of that knowledge. Ram was two-handed and gave up his Aishwarya. It's very interesting. Mother Kaushalya forgot her Gyan to come to the point of Prem, and Ram forgot his Aishwarya to taste the breast milk of Mother Kaushalya in Madhurya, in sweetness. He is bound by affection, dear devotees. Ramchandra does not care about how many verses we know or we don't know. Ramchandra does not care about how scholarly we are or we are not. Ramchandra does not care about how many colorful feathers we have in our cap. Ramchandra does not care about how many stories we can narrate. Ramchandra does not care about how knowledgeable we are or how talented we are or how skilled we are or how beautiful we are or how young we are or how many degrees we have. All of this has to be left behind at death. The only thing Sri Ram cares about is the sincerity of our service to him. And as Kaushalya Devi became ready to offer that, Ram as Bhavagrahi Janardhana was ready to taste that. Dear devotees, as we wrap up this discussion, the point that we can understand is Dasharath Maharaj represents something very practically applicable. Dasha means 10 and Ratha means senses. We also have 10 senses. We have 5 Gyanindriyas and 5 Karmindriyas. We also have 10 senses. If we can become Dasharath, what does Dasharath mean? Dasharath, Rath means chariot, but in Sanskrit, Rath also means senses. So Dasharath Maharaj had controlled all his 10 senses. So if we can control all of our 10 senses, then what will happen? The Supreme Lord Sri Ram will appear to such a Dasharath in the heart. So if we can control our senses and become Dasharath, then Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram will appear in our heart. And when he appears in our heart becomes Ayodhya. What does Ayodhya mean? In Sanskrit, Yuddham means to fight. And Ayodhya means peace, where there is no fight. So our problem is the anxiety in the consciousness. So when we control our senses like Dasharath Maharaj and cultivate the path of affection like Mother Kaushalya, then Sri Ram appears in our heart and our consciousness becomes Ayodhya, which means completely blissful and peaceful without any fighting or any conflict. This is that section of the Ramayana which we don't get to hear so many times. We speak about Ramchandra's Adav Rama Tapovanadi Gamanam. We speak about Ram going into the forest and Mother Sita and etc., which is all very beautiful. But I thought Ram Navami was celebrated. But did Sri Ram actually appear in the Ayodhya of our heart when we become Dasharath? So I thought this discussion could be dedicated to all the Rama Bhaktas in that direction of thought. I really want to thank all of you for tolerating me for the past 90 minutes. Whatever mistakes I have made, please kindly forgive me. All of you being my superiors, you're all like Rajahamsas. You're all like white swans. May you neglect the water of my mistakes and only accept the milk of the essence that was discussed. If this gave pleasure to your heart, before you go to sleep, promise me you will offer a prayer for my upliftment, for my progress in Krishna consciousness. And if there were any mistakes, please kindly you reconcile in your mind so that everything is in the right perspective. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for enlightening us this evening about the glories of Ramchandra, and in between taking us to Bhagavatam Canto 10th as well, and glorifying Lord Krishna as well. So I really appreciate, Prabhu, your time. All glories to you and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So I will ask, like, if devotees any questions, or if you have, then if you can raise your hand, and then we can give maybe another 15-20 minutes for questions and answers. So if anyone has any questions, please raise your hand.
So, Prabhu,
Yeah, I see. Yeah, our Jyoti Das Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I heard one time that which brother of Ramchandra is the greatest? In Bharat Maharaj, Lakshman, or Shatrugna, I heard in one purport that Shatrugna Maharaj served the devotee of the Lord. So he is greatest. So will you put some light on that?
Yeah, it's again, they're all, Prabhupada explains, you can read this in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the chapter entitled Pastimes of Sri Ramachandra. In that chapter, the 2nd verse purport, Prabhupada explains that Sri Ram, Lakshman, Bharata and Shatrugna, they're all Vishnu Tattvas and they are not Jiva Tattvas. So technically speaking, they're all the same as far as Tattva is concerned. There is no this Vishnu Tattva higher than that Vishnu Tattva. But according to Rasa Vichar, according to the consideration of Rasa, we can see that Bharata served Sri Ram. Lakshmana also served Sri Ram. So there is, on one side we see service to Sri Ram, but on the other side we see Shatrugna served Bharat. So Bharat and Lakshman served Sri Ram, but Shatrugna served Bharat. So on one side there is service to the Supreme Lord, and on the other side there is service to the devotee of the Supreme Lord. And More man Prabhu as Vishwasa, Ram te adhik Ram karadasa. Greater than the Supreme Lord is the devotee of the Lord. Mad bhakta puja abhyadika. Service to the devotee of the Lord is way higher. So in that understanding, we can say Shatrugna's service was really applaudable.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Ravi Prabhu. You have any questions, Prabhu? I see your hand is raised.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, कोटि कोटि प्रणाम प्रभु जी, गुड मॉर्निंग प्रभु जी। पहले तो आपकी अनुमति हो तो हिंदी में प्रश्न पूछ लो प्रभु।
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल, कोई
पहले तो ये मतलब सुबह इतना बढ़िया बनाने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। कथाएं हुई, सिचुएशन चल रहा है उसमें आपकी कथाओं से और थोड़ा बहुत प्रभु जी के